intriguing possibilities. This is only the beginning. This is the all-new Sony Burano cage from Condor Blue, built with modularity, weight, and freedom in mind. No shortcuts were taken as we deliver the lightest and most functional modular plates in the industry, allowing you to choose what you use. Precisely crafted, reversible half-top plates give you control as you build your Burano to balance your production and workflow needs. With built-in NATO rails.
Like the film stock. Is it a full package or is it like a little box?
It's a body. It's a cinema body.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Check.
Yeah, check.
Hello again. We're back again. CineGear 2025, stage 30. Is that right, Lucas? Okay. At the Condor Blue booth. Come say hi if you're here. And we've got Jimmy Lindsey.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me. Let's just jump right into it because we have limited time and I have a few things I wanted to ask you about. You shot Picard.
I did. Yeah, I shot season 2 of Picard.
Season 2 of Picard. I'm a bit of a Star Trek fan, so of course I had to watch for the nostalgia, right? You a Star Trek fan?
Yeah, most definitely.
I
was very excited to get the call.
Okay. I wanted to ask. I always worry about like ruining things for people, but I figure this can be level enough that it's not going to be a problem. So let's just say that in season 2, there's some stuff that goes on as vaguely as possible. But what stood out to me was that there are striking visual differences between Picard and the entire rest of. Except I didn't see the other show that occurred, but what was it called? Like Enterprise? I didn't see that one.
Right.
So I don't know. But I watched, like TNG, Voyager, Deep Space Nine, all that stuff, and that all has a similar aesthetic, which is kind of what I became used to for what Star Trek looks like, right? Soap opera in space kind of thing, right? Picard does not look like that at all. And specifically, there's a lot going on with the lighting, the reflections, bit of flare. I kind of just wanted to know what the thought process was in the visual language of Picard and why, which I think works, by the way. I'm the type of person, and I'm known for saying this, that I almost never want to see that stuff because I feel like you'll be watching like some medieval story and you're seeing all this stuff. You're like, what are we doing? This makes no sense. It's like the only time where I felt like it truly fit and possibly elevated whatever the previous theme was.
Certainly in the Star Trek nomenclature, there's a lot of specific things that say Star Trek.
Right.
And there are experts with us on set to tell us, no, they wouldn't hold the phaser like that, or they would do this, or Starfleet protocol says that this would happen, right?
They got their books, though.
There's certainly, there's books of what we need to be doing. But the Star Trek franchise on Paramount is run by Alex Kurtzman. And we're, of course, blessed with some amazing writers, Akiva Goldman, who won the Oscar for writing A Beautiful Mind.
Right.
We had some very solid talent. My alternating DP on that series was Crescenzo Notarelli, ASC. And early on, we decided we wanted to switch glass. So we switched over to Panavision T-Series glass. They're fast, T2, 3, great minimum focus because we were moving the camera, all over the ship. So we had an A camera on a Matrix head, on a 38-foot Scorpio. We had a B camera that was on a Ronin all the time, and then we had a C camera. All 3 cameras moving constantly. So our lens package ranged from 28 millimeters to a custom 360 millimeter anamorphic that Dan Sasaki from Panavision built for us. And
always anamorphic.
Yes.
Yeah, consistently. Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek is anamorphic. And that particular show, we shot it on an Alexa Mini, and with the 2X anamorphic, you're filling the sensor. So you're using every bit of what's available in that.
Were the old, when you said Star Trek is anamorphic, were the old shows anamorphic? Were they shot on like broadcast cameras, like TV lenses?
No,
and
no,
stuff?
no. Television Star Trek is not anamorphic, but feature film Star Trek
Yes.
is always anamorphic.
So that's
so
what I was
that's
gonna
where
say.
we're leaning
The
into the
movies.
world of a combination between the look and feel of something like Wrath of Khan with the modern aesthetic that J.J. Abrams set up for the the Star Trek tentpole films. So we were very intent. When you see a flare happen, like I have electricians with different lights and off camera, and they know on this line of dialogue or when the camera pushes in, that's when you flare the lens. It's all very choreographed. It's not accidental.
Which is what I want to do, applaud, is that I think for a lot of the up-and-coming filmmakers who are dabbling in anamorphics, experimenting with flares and stuff like that, I think they can get a little heavy-handed with it, and that's the part that takes me out of it, you know?
I think if you, at least for me personally, the script and the story will answer every question you have. It'll tell me when that dramatic moment when a flare makes sense. And maybe it's because it's something they're looking at outside the viewer when, the view screen. Maybe it's because of something that's going on, with the firefight or whatever's happening. In this season of Star Trek, we jumped into like this split in the timeline where we went into this post-apocalyptic.
He said it. I didn't say it. I
I
said stuff happened.
Yeah. and that was some of the most fun, and that because we really got to lean into a different aspect of where the Star Trek universe could go. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. What I would say is that you should watch that show for a bit of an instructional, I think, on a use of anamorphics. It's interesting that you said, like the 2009 Star Trek, I think, would be a little bit, definitely there's some inspiration drawn from that. It's interesting you said Wrath of Khan, because in my head I was picturing more like a First Contact kind of era of the films,
But Wrath of Khan is, the difference between Star Trek the motion picture and Wrath of Khan is dramatic. It got gritty, it got dirty, it got violent. It was way different. And in Picard, what's interesting is you have these characters that you had on Next Generation, which, by the way, there's nobody cooler than Patrick Stewart. And I found that no matter what you did, you'd line up this amazing wide shot, and we had this $3 million spaceship. And in the end, all I wanted to do was just be in a screaming close-up on Patrick Stewart, because it just doesn't get any cooler than that.
And there's no bad angle of that guy either, right?
my very first scene that I shot on season 2 had John Delancey as Q and Patrick Stewart having like a physical fight on camera. That was the very first scene I shot.
And like a nerd.
Oh, yeah. Everybody was back at DIT, and we're all just like, oh my God, we're the biggest nerds. This is amazing. So yeah.
Spoiler alert: Q is back in Picard. If you haven't seen.
Oh yeah,
it.
Sorry, lots of spoilers.
But that's the thing. All the nostalgia that you could possibly want is throughout. It's 3 seasons on that show, right?
It is. Yeah.
Throughout the 3 seasons, you'll get it all. Anything you were hoping for. Poker game. It's all there.
Yeah, and I was also lucky enough to have Jonathan Frakes as my director, so I got to spend a ton of time with Frakes.
Yeah, because he does a ton of directing even outside of Star Trek, right?
Yeah, and he is the funniest, nicest person you'd ever want to spend all day with.
Can you imagine? Sure. I mean, you can, but can everybody else imagine being a Star Trek fan, then shooting Star Trek characters while being directed by Commander Riker?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
That would be a weird moment to be alive, right?
For sure.
But yeah, anyway, very good job. Super instructional, I think, for a good use of anamorphics, which is something I've been, fighting against lately with I think a lot of misuse, and a really cool visual style on that whole show that I honestly think might be the most refined, like, visual language for a Star Trek show, because it's also a very dangerous show compared to the TV. It always felt like the TV, where they kill one person in like 7 seasons or whatever, of TNG. But this show felt like higher stakes, and the way it was shot, I think, really matched that. And so I think, it's like we gotta get Jim Lindsey there talking about Star Trek. But
look, I loved it, and I appreciate the comments. I was very happy to be a part of that team. There's a lot of people, involved in that refined, sort of advanced Star Trek look, and I was really happy to be a part of it.
Now, just before we started, you were telling me that about some of the things you were working on recently. You've got a new season 2 of Fubar, the Schwarzenegger.
Exactly. Yeah, that's going to drop, I think, in the next couple of days. And season 2 is bigger and funnier.
What was it like shooting that?
I was really looking. I mean, working with Schwarzenegger is definitely something on your punch card, along with Star Trek.
Sure.
And he is amazing. He walks in, he knows everyone's name, he shakes everyone's hand. He's a complete professional. Does off camera for people, and through a huge party in the mid-season that coincided. I had done the show Physical the year, or several months ahead of that. And so while I was on set, the announcement came out that I had gotten an Emmy nomination for Physical.
Congrats.
And Arnold made a big deal out of it on set, and our director Jeff Thomas announced it, and it was just really, really
That's
great.
sweet.
And then to be at an after party with Arnold and smoke a cigar with him, and it was definitely, shooting the show was amazing.
Yeah.
And I had just a phenomenal crew, and it was a really great experience. But that was sort of a very special sort of moment within the moment, for sure.
That's a nice story. Anything you could tell us about actually shooting the show that maybe stood out to you, as far as like either anything that you thought was interesting that you guys did, or peculiar along the way?
Yeah, I can't. I guess because it hasn't really dropped, I can't really give away too much. But
now you're okay with not doing spoilers.
Well, I'm much more afraid of Arnold, so
Right.
I'm gonna not tell everybody what's going on. If you love something like that, True Lies, spy action comedy that Arnold is so great at, you're just gonna love the show. We shot on. I guess I can talk about some technical stuff.
Yeah, sure.
We shot on Sony Venice 2. We definitely had some Rialtos present. We had a lot of very tight sets and spaces that we needed for some of the sequences, which when you see this show, you'll see what I mean.
Is that the use for the Rialto? You
yeah.
mean like sticking in a little?
Yep.
The Rialto is, for people who don't know, is basically like a little sensor module, right? That you tether to the Venice.
Correct. And they have a newer version of that that's even smaller that I believe they used on F1.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, it's pretty spectacular.
It's like,
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
tiny. But the Rialto is very tiny unto itself. I mean, it's no larger than a still camera, really, when you put a prime lens on. And we shot that series with Masterbuilts. So that was my first time pairing the Venice 2 and the Masterbuilts together. And they looked great. It was a really nice combination, and very lightweight and mobile.
you just shot it kind of like clean style was the idea? Like how do those lenses?
Well, these were the special flare, so they're detuned, and then I used some diffusion in front. I think I used some glimmer glass and occasionally black satins, and
Right.
I'm definitely somebody who doesn't shoot clean.
Okay.
I love filters. I love filtration, and that goes all the way back. Like I was telling someone yesterday, when I shot Once Upon a Time in Mexico, we were, Robert and I wanted a look that was very dirty and dusty, and so we used antique suedes and chocolate filters. This is when we were shooting on an F900. Before we had DITs. I mean, I had a black and white viewfinder.
Are you guys responsible for what then later became the Mexico look that people turn the dial up to 10 on?
Maybe,
or whatever?
maybe. But now what I was saying to someone is I still have all those filters. And one of the things I like to do, if I want a specific look, sometimes I'll take that filter and put it in the camera and mark the vector scope, and then take the filter out and then have my DIT shift the color and create a CDL based on that filter. I also have like a Harrison 20cc green, which is not even pea size. It's like a 4x filter. It's really thin, but it has this amazing look. It's like a Fight Club filter. And I'll just build all those CDLs from all these filters that I can just overlay and really sort of experiment with, on top of a base LED. Like, let's say I'm using I'm a big Fuji fan. I'm wearing the Eterna hat here. I just shot I believe I'm the first person to really shoot something with the camera, of length that's not charts and whatnot. And I was lucky enough, Fuji had me come and shoot some footage, which we cut together and presented to the ASC on Wednesday. And it's an amazing camera. It's really beautiful. And I've been such a fan of Fuji. Like, I love Eterna stock. I came up shooting film for the first half of my career. And so when I'm shooting digitally, a lot of times I'm using a Fuji film emulation, like an Eterna film emulation. So once I have that and I can lay on these different sort of filter looks on top, to me, that's a great quick way to figure out with a director sort of what does this look like.
And you'll use those even if you're not shooting on a Fuji sensor? Like,
Yeah.
you'll find a way to wiggle them onto a Venice or whatever?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I mean, look, I love Kodak stock. I'm kind of camera agnostic. I mean,
Sure.
you can really, cameras have gotten so good, you can really make something great with all of the cameras. You know, the new Red camera is amazing. The Venice is amazing. The Alexa 35 is amazing. I still shoot with a Mini when I'm shooting 2x anamorphic because it fills the sensor. And I love to shoot film. My next 3 projects are actually on film. So, and if they made Fuji stock again, I would definitely be shooting it.
Is it harder to shoot film these days in terms of, I don't know, just every step of the way? Is it like more expensive, more arduous, fewer people, fewer places, you know?
To me, shooting film is more about the process of shooting film, which you can do digitally, which is not having the extras go back to one while you're still rolling and you roll and roll and roll and you never cut, right? Or wearing headsets and being far away and having a focus puller 3 rooms away and the operator on a remote head 2 rooms away. And shooting film is like everyone's around the dolly. The director's sitting on an Apple box. You know, the DP's operating, or you have an operator, but you're all standing close to each other, and it's more intimate. And because film is precious and it's expensive, you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and then shoot. You don't shoot the rehearsal, which, by the way, if you shoot the rehearsal, it's not a rehearsal. But
It's just a bad take.
I think you can shoot digital in the same way and have similar results of the way of that process, right? Reduce the number of monitors you have on set, reduce the number of redundancy, right? So I don't really think shooting film is harder. And I came up that way, and I light by eye, and I use a meter, and I don't spend my whole time at the DIT. I usually do all the lighting up front, and I'll go back to the monitor, and I'll adjust a few levels. But mostly I'm on set, and if I'm shooting something small enough, like an independent movie, I'm operating as well. So I love shooting film, but I also love shooting digital. I think right tool for the right job, you know?
But with these upcoming projects, you're not talking philosophically shooting film. You're using a film camera.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And some of them will be a blend. It'll be a certain portion of the film will be Super 16 anamorphic on Hawk V lights. And a portion of it will probably be, you know, on a digital camera, because the film is divided into very different looks. And then another project is just straight Super 35 spherical in a, you know, widescreen prop. And it's just, you know, I have a director who wants to shoot film, and, you know, who am I to talk him out of it? Let's sign me up.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing some of your memories of Picard, and also letting us know about the new projects as much as you could. And thanks for sharing some of your thoughts and insights.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Yeah, appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. Thanks. You got to get some footage of me trying to put the microphone back.
Yeah, you need like one of those like weighted like